Ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourself to see the most beautiful sculpture on earth. I could not hire a drummer, therefore I need your help. Please. Yes. Et voilà. Some seems a little bit surprised. You might not like it, but this sculpture is the most beautiful sculpture on earth to me. You want to know why? I'll tell you later. Now, I'd like to share with you 3 keys to imagine a life with impact on the world or your environment. And the first key is know your values. Knowing it or not, we all live by our own set of values. And the more you care about them, the better you will feel in your life. That's why it's important to know them clearly. And how? Simply by asking yourself, what is important to you? What could I never give up? Another way is to observe yourself when you have negative reaction in your daily life. I give you an example. You are in a supermarket, in a queue, and you see someone behind you pushing around an old lady to take her place in the queue. And it angers you. I mean, more than the norm. It could be that one of your values is respect or justice. One of my most important values is unity. And in a previous job, I had a CEO who loved to create bad competition between the team members. And it separated us. I ended up with a burnout. At this point, I was not aware about values. If I had, I would have quit very quickly. Now, why this sculpture is the most beautiful to me? It is simply because through this sculpture I could realize a dream. Its name is Ubuntu, and Ubuntu is a Zulu word and philosophy that means, in short, I am who I am because of the others. 12 artists, me included, and 2 welders did this sculpture. It is because we did this sculpture all together, united, that this sculpture is so dear to me. As you see, knowing your value guides you to make choices in your life. Now I'd like you to do a little game. To imagine a life that has impact on the world or your environment. And therefore you need your paper. I propose you to write down your 3 most important values you have, each one of you. And because it is not so easy and perhaps a bit short, I have some keywords, some values. It can inspire you if you want. Take a few seconds for that. Now that you know your value, we can go to the second key. And the second key is know in which direction you want your life to go. The easiest way to know it is to ask you simply the question, how do I want my life to be? Do I live because I have to live? Or do I live because it's fun to live? Or because I want to create a great life for me and for the others? To help you with this question, I have 3 directions. The first one is, where should you live? What I mean with that is in which environment, city, countryside, or in which social environment you'd like to live. The second direction is where should you know? How should you love? What I mean with that is how do you relate with your close ones and the others? How do you communicate with them? And the third direction is how should you act? What are your daily actions for the environment? Which social commitment do you have? Or what work do you do that helps the world grow? My job is to help people who are looking for a more fulfilling job. And a recent broadcast on Arte reported that in France, only 11% of the people are really happy to go to work. The others are either disengaged and go to work only for their paycheck, or they are so unhappy that they are counterproductive for the company. Imagine now if we could reverse this statistic. And if instead of 11% of people, we would have 90% of the people who are going with a smile on their face every day and knowing that they will blossom in their job. That is what motivates me the most. And that is also the reason why every Monday morning I begin my week with a live webcast about how to live from our passion. Therefore, I encourage you to see yourself happy in your work, as well, of course, as happy in your love life. Now, let's continue our little game. And with these three directions, live, love, action, I'd like you to imagine yourself in 10 to 15 years from now, living the life of your dream. Take a few seconds for that. You can take some notes. Where would you be? What would you be doing? With whom are you? How do you feel? And who are you as a person? When we imagine this life, mostly we have good feelings, joy, enthusiasm, openness, perhaps a smile on our face. What we have to keep in mind is to imagine this great life that has impact on the world or your environment. The first key is to know your values. And the second is to know in which direction you want your life to go. And to create really this life, this wonderful life, you need a third key. What about taking the first step? My first step was when I commit publicly to a weekly webcast. And now I have another next first step and a new dream. I'd like to create a movement of people who commit to their own happiness in their job. Often I see we are waiting that the company are responsible for the well-being from their employees. In fact, we are the only one. We are responsible for our own happiness. How you can be happy? You might say it's easy to say, but if you are not well in your job, change it. You can either change the company or change the profession. And if you can't find a job what is really dear to you, you could perhaps create it. Now for the last part, I'd like to invite you to take a few seconds and choose the first step you want to do to improve your life, your love, or your action so that it has impact on the world or the environment.
I wanna see the world united, and love to live as one. I wanna see the world united, love to live as one.
And while you hear this wonderful music performed by musicians all around the world for the organization Playing for Change, I encourage you to take your paper with you, and after the TEDx, do your first step. And overall, I wish you to create a great life for yourself and for the other. Thank you.